Hello, people. Today, I wanted to talk about a topic that is very interesting to me, and I'm sure it is interesting to everyone. And I really wish that the people that I am mentioning in the video, uh, they could listen to this, but unfortunately, I I don't think that they would be able to listen to this. But anyways, I am going to talk about staring. It is the act of looking constantly, continuously at something that is in front of you. Uh, and it is spelled as Staring. Now, the the thing is, recently I have been out in like I took the metro ride from one place to the other, and you know there was this lady sitting in front of me, like across my seat, and I found that she was staring at me, you know and of course I noticed that she was staring at me because I was staring at her. And she 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 was a pretty old lady, and and she had a bag in her hand. Clearly she was going somewhere for work, because she also had these tags around her neck. And she kept on looking at me, and I kept on looking at her. And I felt like, like, after a while, we both smiled and we both started to laugh. Okay. And when her stop came, she walked up and she left the metro rail. And I kind of feel a little bit of sadness, you can tell, because I could not walk up and speak to her. But then, what can we do? We were strangers. So the thing is that, um, like, from my very childhood, I have found myself staring at simple, usual objects in life. Okay. For example, staring at the water when the tap is on. I mean, what is the right way to tell it? The tap is on or the tap is kept open? And like, I would sometimes find myself staring outside the window, and looking at people walking by. And I would sometimes feel a little curious about how would they look like once I have walked outside the walked outside the window, walked outside my home, and seen them from a little closer, you know and would they look similar? Would they look different? So this is something that I have always been very curious about. And like, even like recently, I keep on staring at trees, plants, buildings, half constructed buildings. I mean, there is a half constructed building right in front of my house, and it has left just like that for a very long time. And I keep on staring at that building. Okay. And like, and I have like these thoughts that, like, what is going to happen to this building, etc., etc. Now, it is not that I get overwhelmed either by thinking that I have spent so much time staring at something. But I just look at things. And you know like, there was this one occasion recently where I was visiting a shop, a grocery shop. And then there was this little child who was, like, playing a game of um, tennis. I'm sorry, they were playing badminton. And they were, and this girl, she was looking at me, because I think because she noticed that I had a lot of packets in my hand. Or it might be that, my father was inside the garage. I mean, we were returning from the market, and I was standing alone outside the garage where my father keeps his scooter, and I stood there looking at the girl look at me, and then she eventually waved at me, and I waved back at her. Now the thing is that she is, she lives in the locality, and she is also somebody that I see every day, but we hardly, I don't remember that I have spoken to her more than once or twice, and it was not even a proper conversation. It was just a smile, or maybe I was like right in front of her house. There is this puchka pani puri stall, and like sometimes I go there to get my pani puri and puchka, and then this girl, she sometimes waves at me and I wave back at her. What happens is that I noticed that she was staring at me constantly while she was at her game. And when she waved at me, I thought that it might be that she was doing it because she was concerned that why is she standing all alone in front of the garage. Now I remember that there is this another incident where I was in this place called Jadavpur. It was in it is in, I mean, Jadavpur is in Calcutta, and I was waiting for an auto. Okay, and there was this person who was, like there was this person who was passing by, and since I was standing in the auto queue in the waiting line for the auto, uh, this person was right before two to three people standing in front of me. And when the auto was turning around, like I had a feeling, I had a uh, very weird nudge that like it is as if there was this question mark on my head, like above my head. And I turned around and I saw that there was this person who was like this person was like 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 this. They were staring at me like this, as if they were going to scold me, as if like they got to know something wrong that I have been up to. I got so scared. It was, like it was a lot of years back, and I was uh, a very quiet person back then. And what happened is that I got very, very scared, and I thought that, oh my God, do they know? Does the person know my parents? Does the person, like, if is the person trying to warn me against something, etc., etc. Now, as I move on with time, notice that there are many ill incidents, many unfaithful events where things like, like wrong things do happen to people. People stare at one another in the wrong way. Now, let us not do that. Sometimes we just can't, like escape the idea that we have been staring, we have been doing the wrong things to someone, and maybe we should just discontinue it. If, like today, I mean, if anyone among you find yourself staring when somebody is not comfortable with it, when somebody does not like it, then you should immediately discontinue that. Just discontinue doing the things that you think are wrong and might make somebody else uncomfortable. Now, um, sometimes these things happen that we do things and we do not realize that we are doing it. Um, and in this case, I would say that nothing more than a helpful amount of education helps. Education or knowledge. Just telling somebody and accepting the idea that if you are like doing these things, it might not be that helpful for you, for the other person. Let's jump back to the funny side of the conversation. I mean, it was probably one of the one of the podcasts where I was listening, that where I was hearing that this person was suddenly met by a doppelganger. A doppelganger is a person. I am not sure if I am pronouncing it right. Doppelganger is a similar looking uh, identity. I mean, apparition, similar looking entity, a similar looking shadow, or somebody, that looks just like you. This person, I mean, it was the experience of this person. Like, he was alone at home, and suddenly he sees that there is somebody very much similar looking, is staring back at them. Have you ever had this experience? It is scary, it is interesting, it is funny, but it is there. I'm not sure where I have heard this incident, but it was a very long and very elaborated story, uh, slash experience that I was hearing. It might be in the Ghosties podcast, or it might be in some other podcast, but it was there. And also, I was one day I was like passing by a bridge. This is also another scary experience. I was passing, but no, it was not exactly a bridge. It was okay. No, wait. It was a highway. It was a highway in Calcutta where I was passing by, and I saw that there is this person. There is this. Probably the person was a photographer, or might even be a YouTuber or something. They were taking a video of the surroundings, and like you usually get a good view when you walk up the highway. And like this person was like, I was with two of my other friends in the vehicle, and I just suddenly, like, all the three of us, we noticed that this person turned around out of nowhere and stared at us. And it was as if it was scary, and it was very crazy. There was no explanation to it, but it was there. And there was this another incident where I caught the, like, have you ever been in a situation where you see one of your parents stare at you suspiciously, and you are like, oh no, I should not have, I should have either said this out loud to them, confessed to them before lying, or I should have done something better to hide facts from them. Now, one day I was asked by my father, like my father had prepared this fruit bowl for me. Basically, I had complained a lot about breakfast, and I told my mother that I'm not going to have paratha or anything in the breakfast. I'm just going to have a bowl of fruit and maybe some eggs. So my mother, she told me that it's okay. You don't want to have paratha, don't have paratha. But from tomorrow, if you don't have your fruit bowl, then like you are in for a scolding. Now the next day, my father got these fruits and he made this fruit bowl, and I just didn't have the appetite to eat. And he he like I did this thing, like I put a cover on that bowl, and I put it very much deep inside my bookshelf so that nobody gets to see it. But eventually my mother found it out. And then, now, one day I was traveling with my family. It was to a nearby village. I think it was uh, during some festivities in the month of November, I think. And I was no, I remember it. I was visiting this coastal place called Chadipur with my family friends, and we were in a car, and it took us a lot of time to reach our hotel from our city to the hotel because of the traffic, because of we took a lot of time to have our dinner at the highway. And when we reached there, the closer we got, we were, like welcomed by a lot of agricultural fields. And, like there were these long, unusual crops, and a lot of crops were there. And, as we were moving ahead, like I had dozed off. Me and my mother, we were sitting at the back seat, and I dozed off. Both of us dozed off. And then suddenly we woke up with this rush because this driver had, like, because the driver had suddenly, like, I mean, he had made this, he put a brake on the vehicle, and it was a very, like we woke up with a jerk. And when we looked around, we saw that there was this white figure, and I think it was some sort of probably they were a homeless person. And like this person had ashes all over the body, and like, and this person was staring at us. And like, my father, he was sitting right beside the driver, and he pointed it out, like, look, look, somebody is standing there. And we were pretty scared at the sight, and we were very much conscious in the drive ahead, and we could not sleep. uh, I mean, my father was awake, and I had thought that me and my mother had thought that we would sleep for the rest of the journey after dinner, but we could not till we reached the hotel. And my God, I can't forget that sight till now. It was this very scary situation. And like, every now and then we run across these issues inside the train. I mean, I will not say it is an issue, but I think it is one of those, a bit scary, not scary, but even interesting situation where somebody stares at you at the train or something, and while you are taking up public transport. And like I often find that it is okay to uh, like have certain experiences that make us realize that not everybody will have some similar thoughts all the time. Not everybody will have uh, like a very positive intention behind doing something. But then it's okay. I think if we are together and connected, it just does not affect us in that a bad way. And if like something or somebody staring at you, or anybody has made such a bad effect on you, then the best thing to do is to immediately communicate it to somebody, and immediately put it across to a concerned person. Or immediately, like, maybe if it is somebody that you feel like you are okay to communicate with it, maybe you can just wave your hand or smile. These two things are is something that works for me and has always worked for me. Now I'll come to a very interesting situation. A very, like, this lit up my day when it happened. I usually wake up quite early in the morning, and I go to my I you know immediately go to the nearest market with my father in his scooter. and it is a ride that I enjoy a lot. And there is this market by the canal closer to our house, and we go there, and we, like, we do the shopping, whichever things we require to buy, we do the shopping. And yeah, so one day what happened is that there was a huge crowd in the market, and I just could not walk along with my father. Like, a lot of people were uh, congested in front of each vegetable seller and fish seller, and we were very much stuck. So what happened is that I my father asked me that it's okay, you can do one thing, you can just stand where you are, and I will go ahead and I will pick up the vegetables, and once I am done, you can come with me, and we can leave from there. So I was standing there, and there was this old person, like he was way older than my father. He would have been at least 80 or 90 years old. And then he was just, looking uh, at me, and I smiled and I waved at him. And he also smiled and he waved at me. And he passed, I mean, he walked past me, not he passed away. He walked past me. And, I mean, to my surprise, I, I did not let uh, myself get irritated by it. Actually, what happens is that, like, I have seen that there are a lot of people who get very much conscious, angry, or irritated, or even a bit scared or concerned about their safety when they find people staring at them. But often the thing is that people stare at each other because probably they are jealous. Like, for example, I often find myself staring at another person because I'm jealous of what they're wearing, maybe the nice clothes that they're wearing. I often stare at people, uh, um, and I have, it might be a very bad habit, but I do have this habit of checking what they're carrying, uh, carrying on their hands. Like, so if somebody is carrying a very heavy uh, thela or plastic bag, or a bag. In Bengal, it is called tholi or bajarer bag, or even a shopping bag. I have this habit of, like, looking at the name of the store, like what is the name of the store and what things are there inside the bag, and it makes me feel very happy, cozy, comfortable to just stand at one place and look at people's bags, etc. Now, there was a time when my mother had noticed me. Like, I would, like, look at what people are doing. Like, one day I was traveling on a train with my mother, and what happened is that there was this lady who had dozed off in front of us. Like, it was when I was in school, and the lady was like asleep like this, you know, and I pointed that person out to my mother, and I kept on laughing throughout the journey because the person was asleep. And it was a funny sight to me and my mother. It was a very funny sight to me and my mother, and I just couldn't stop laughing. And if like, it was probably almost 1 decade back, and if I see her today, if I had probably offended her, I would give her a hug and apologize, and but I would just tell her that she inspired me to take a nap every now and then, and probably sleep during traveling. And so what happened is that we have, like, my mother, she pointed it out later to me that it is not okay to stare at people. like that. So often, she so I developed this habit of just looking at people, maybe at their feet or the bag that they're carrying, and it lets me to enjoy and point it out to myself which shop people are visiting, which places they are going, and it is a very interesting thing to do. So yeah, and now talking about staring at things that are just things, not human beings. Like for example, I mean, as I'm sitting here talking to you people, I I often I look at this wallpaper and I get curious, and I look at this pattern at the the cover on the TV, and I keep on noticing it, and I feel like if only I could do something with it. And I look at it, and yeah, so I do stare at things, but often I also keep this point in my mind that uh, it is not always that uh, mm, it is not always that you know good thing to shamelessly stare at people when they're not comfortable. Now, I have heard this incident from one of my friends where she was telling me that while she was traveling by bus in a very different city, there was a girl sitting beside her, and there was this other person sitting right across the, I mean, at the opposite side of the seat. And this person was looking at the girl, and immediately, and this girl was listening to music on her earphones. And then what happened is that she she put out her earphones and she asked the lady, "What is your problem? Why are you staring at me?" And it is some, like, it made me sad to think that just because just because somebody is looking at me, it is okay to assume that they are being harmful or hurtful, or they are doing something bad to us. It might be, I accepted that it might be that people has some bad habit. It is okay to have a bad habit, but it is not okay to immediately this girl, she called the bus conductor and she threatened to call the police because she was staring at her. It is also a bit crazy, you know to to somebody through this amount of harassment and shame because somebody is staring. But then again, like, unless and until you are at this person's position, it is no way, there is no way to understand what the person is going through, or why they might even be doing the, I mean, looking at you for so long. So, yeah, taking things a little weird, crazy, and funny way does really help. So, yeah, that's all for today. And I will tell you about more experiences that I have. And please tell me about one or the other similar experiences that you have had in life.